In the dimly lit room, she's overwhelmed by anxiety and fear. As doubts creep in, she questions her life's purpose. Is this all there is? The shadows around her grow darker, symbolizing the weight of negativity. But she takes a deep breath and starts reflecting. Flashbacks of past struggles surface, alongside moments of strength. As she processes her emotions, light begins to break through the windows, and the shadows fade. Standing in front of the mirror, she sees a stronger version of herself. With newfound confidence, she steps out of the room into bright light. Finally, she smiles, looking forward to a brighter future. As she stood in front of the mirror, the weight of her struggles still lingered. The shadows had faded, but the memory of darkness remained. She took a deep breath, and the mirror fogged up, a symbol of the uncertainty that lay ahead. With her finger, she wrote a single word on the glass. Breathe. The tension broke, and she felt a sense of calm wash over her. She was back in control, or so she thought. Just as she thought she'd found her footing, the floor shook beneath her feet. The surprise was palpable, and she stumbled, her hand grasping for something to hold onto. The door creaked open, and a figure appeared in the doorway. It was someone from her past, someone she thought she'd left behind. The air was thick with tension as they locked eyes, and she wondered what this meant for her newfound strength. The figure took a step forward, and she felt a rush of emotions. But as she looked into their eyes, she saw something unexpected. Understanding. The figure spoke, their voice gentle. It's time to face what's been left unsaid. She nodded, a sense of resolve settling within her. She was ready to face whatever came next, armed with the knowledge that she'd overcome her darkest moments before. With newfound determination, she stepped forward into the unknown. The door swung open wider, revealing a path she hadn't seen before. It was time to take the next step, to see where this journey would lead. And as she walked through the doorway, she knew she'd emerge even stronger on the other side. As she stood before the door marked forgiveness, her heart hesitated. The figure beside her nodded encouragement. She pushed the door open, and a warm light spilled out. Inside, she found a room filled with people she'd hurt or been hurt by. They were all there waiting. The air was thick with unspoken apologies and unresolved pain. The figure nudged her forward, and she took a step into the room. One by one, the people began to speak, sharing their stories and hurts. She listened, tears streaming down her face, as the weight of her actions settled in. But with each shared pain, the room grew lighter. She found herself speaking, her voice shaking at first, then stronger. She apologized, and others did the same. Forgiveness flowed like a river, washing away old wounds. As the last words were spoken, the room dissolved into light. She stumbled back into the corridor, feeling raw and new. The figure handed her a small box. Inside lay a note. You were always enough. She smiled, a sense of peace settling within. The journey wasn't over, but she was ready. What's next? As she read the note, a warmth spread through her chest. She looked up at the figure, who smiled and vanished. The corridor stretched out before her, leading into a bright, hazy light. She stepped forward, her feet carrying her toward the unknown. The air filled with whispers, voices of people she'd forgiven, offering words of encouragement. You're strong, they said. You've got this. She smiled, feeling their support. The corridor began to shift, transforming into a path through a lush garden. Petals fell around her, soft as snow. A figure appeared ahead, a child, playing with a butterfly. As she drew closer, the child looked up, and she gazed into eyes that were hers. The child held out the butterfly, and she took it, feeling its delicate wings. Fly, the child whispered. She released the butterfly, and it soared into a sky filled with colors she'd never seen. The garden vanished, replaced by a bustling market. People haggled and laughed, their faces a blur. She wandered through stalls, taking in sights and sounds. A vendor handed her a mask, intricate, beautiful, unlike anything she'd seen. For the next part of your journey, he said, winking. She put on the mask, and the market transformed. Colors intensified, and sounds became music. People approached, sharing stories and secrets. She listened, learning about herself and others. The mask shifted, adapting to each new encounter. As night fell, the market became a starry sky. She lay back, the ground soft as a cloud, and gazed up at the stars. Constellations spelled out messages: hope, strength, resilience. A shooting star streaked across the sky, and she made a wish. The stars twinkled, guiding her forward. The mask whispered, "The next door awaits." She stood, and the sky folded into a path. A door materialized, old and weathered, with a sign: purpose. She reached for the handle. As she touched the handle, the door swung open, revealing a labyrinth of tunnels. Each path pulsed with a different energy: creativity, logic, intuition, and more. A whisper echoed: choose your path, shape your purpose. She put on the mask, and visions flooded her mind. Art, innovation, healing, exploration. The mask pointed to a tunnel, and she stepped in. The path twisted, leading her to a room filled with creators, makers, and dreamers. They welcomed her, sharing their passions and projects. She collaborated, ideas flowing like a river. Time vanished as they worked, creating something bigger than themselves. The room dissolved, and she emerged with a gift: a key. The key unlocked a door marked impact. She stepped through, and a wave of ripples spread. People touched, lives changed, futures shaped. The mask whispered, "Your legacy begins." The tunnels merged into a spiral, spinning her forward. She landed in a forest, trees representing aspects of herself. A voice asked, "Which tree are you?" She looked around, and each tree spoke: strength, wisdom, creativity, resilience. She chose them all, and the trees merged into a glowing forest. A path led out to a sunrise. The sky spelled out, "You are the dawn." The journey continued. The meteor's message lingered, and she felt the spark within ignite. Ideas burst forth: art, music, stories, innovations. She created, and the world responded. Echoes of her work rippled through time. The mountaintop transformed into a stage glowing star. People gathered, and she shared her creations. The audience became part of the story, their emotions weaving into hers. Together, they co-created something universal. A figure appeared, the child from before, now grown. "This is the start," they said, handing her a clockwork key. "Time is yours to shape." She turned the key, and time flexed, past, present, future merging. She saw threads of possibility, choices leading to new paths. The mask whispered, "Your legacy is the journey." She smiled, knowing she'd live many lives. The stage became a portal, and she stepped through. Landing in a garden deciduous tree, she found trees with leaves of memory. Each leaf held a moment, a lesson. She touched one, and a memory unfolded: laughter with loved ones,